Good Morning Liberty.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is an empty chair where sometimes Charlie Thompson is sitting. He's not here today. It's just me hanging out with the Fed Haters Club. Charlie will be back this weekend, so he'll be back next week. So that's good news. If it's your first time listening, just keep in mind, I think the other day I said don't listen, and then it ended up being a really good show, in my opinion. And I won't say don't listen this time, but keep in mind, it's more fun when there's more people talking. You know, we get to go back and forth, make some jokes, stuff like that. And that's not the case today. So you can go back and listen to last week's Dumb Bleep of the Week if you want to do that. Or just make sure you stick around, keep that in mind, and come listen to all the shows that we have next week. The Fed Haters Club is hanging out, though. JoinGML.com. JoinGML.com. Go check that out. It's only $7 a month. You can hang out, especially on Fridays, which is Dumb Bleep of the Week. That is where I've thrown in a bunch of submissions. People on X have thrown in submissions, which I hardly pay attention to because they're not paying me to pay attention to it. And then the people in the Fed Haters Club throw in a bunch of submissions as well. We put those all together. I've brought the list down to about 12 submissions today for Dumb Bleep of the Week. The live group, Fed Haters Club, gets to vote on those things, and we will decide which one is, in fact, the dumbest. Could be a thing, could be a person, could just be a general idea. Today it's separated mostly by people, and then we've got some things after that. Like I said, we got 12, which means we got to go. We got to get going here real quick. We're going to start with a couple things that we talked about on the show on Wednesday when we got some of the previews of the Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson episode, debate, whatever it is you want to call it. If you have not listened to that, you got to listen to it. It was amazing. I just started my second time through it. I've gone back and listened to many times for a second and third time so I can get a good laugh. In my humble opinion, Tucker made Ted Cruz just look, just so terrible. He's destroyed in my eyes. He's good on some things. And he's always been high up on the list of better senators than a lot of the other senators. But man, did he look really dumb in that interview, and it was great. It was worth it. It is well worth the 2 hours. When it was over, I was actually kind of upset that it was only 2 hours. I could have listened to it all day. That's really what I wanted. All right, so let's start with a couple clips from that one that we already played on Wednesday. This one concerns the Bible. Here we go.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my... You pull out the phone and use the Google.
It's in Genesis. But so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Well, hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the
God's
descendants of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And by the way, it's not run by Benjamin Netanyahu as a dictator. It's a democratic country that elected.
He's the prime minister.
All right, this idea is completely ridiculous. just so you know, I said something on Wednesday when we talked about this. I said that all these guys got to be removed from office, and I hold true to that. They all got to be kicked out, but it's got to go a step further. Anyone who's making foreign policy decisions based on the Bible and the idea that we're commanded to support Israel needs to be deported to Israel immediately, because that's obviously the nation that they care the most about. And what better way to bless Israel than with your presence and with your citizenship? I think that we should go ahead and work on that. By the way, they're not talking about, the Bible is not talking about the modern government of Israel, which was formed in 1948 by human beings, men with their own goals and ambitions, men who weren't even religious. And it's ran by people who aren't even religious. These people are more than willing to use people's religious convictions, their religious beliefs. And I'm telling you, they're laughing at you guys right now. Anyone who believes this, they're laughing at you. The people who run this government are not even religious. The people who started Israel were not even religious. And there's no way they were talking about the modern government formed in 1948 of Israel. It makes no sense at all. I forgot something I was going to mention at the beginning of the show, a little bit of news. Some credit where some credit is due when it comes to Trump. This is kind of aside from the Dumb Bleep #1 Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson thing. Not a lot of credit here, but some credit. The really, really strong push for the U.S. to get directly involved with this war between Israel and Iran. And for us to go in there with our bunker busters and just go ahead and take out their nuclear sites. And Trump made the announcement yesterday, or Caroline Leavitt made the announcement for Trump yesterday, that he's putting a 2-week clock on this thing now. Now, what does that mean? It's up to 2 weeks. We could start bombing them anytime. Okay, so you could take this clip and post it out later if you wanted to do that. If I'm totally wrong, some credit where some credit is due. I do still hold out hope for the fact that I think Trump does not want to get the U.S. involved in this war. I think that he wants to come to some kind of diplomatic solution, that he wants to sign some kind of a deal with Iran. I do, however, think that it's too little too late. I think that the ball's already rolling here. We're already throwing bombs back and forth, already shooting missiles back and forth. And I think the train's on the track. It's going to be tough to stop. But I do still think that Trump favors signing a piece of paper. I think that's what he favors, and I think that's what he's trying to do. And so I wanted to give a little bit of credit. The more negative side of that, pessimistic side of that, is that the 2-week window is to further convince the people in the U.S. that we have to go into Iran, or that we have to go bomb Iran, and that we have to get involved, and they need another. We threw a lot of propaganda at the people really quickly, and we've moved a lot of people over to that side. But man, if we just had 2 more weeks and we got to watch some more missiles hit in Israel and stuff like that, or if we can maybe bait Iran into attacking one of our ships or one of our bases during that time, then we might have a little bit more popular support for getting into it. That's kind of my pessimistic idea on that. Anyway, so that's the first video for Tucker and Ted. Tucker and Ted talking to evil. Let me see. Is this the one about APAC? Let me see. This might be the APAC one.
So I've never taken money from the Israel lobby. Have you?
Taken money from the Israel...
From APAC.
So APAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer, because the people who raise money are individuals. Right. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship and relationship.
Is APAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the APAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action Committee.
What does it lobby for?
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years.
This thing that he's doing here, it's pretty smart, really, but in order to downplay APAC and the importance of the APAC lobby, which is obviously massive, he's actually going to criticize them and try to, like, it's so much not a problem that I'm actually criticizing APAC for not getting enough things done. They're actually a very ineffective lobby. There's so many things that they could do better to help our relations, and APAC is just not doing a good job. That's a good way of distancing yourself from the power that APAC has over our Congress, is turning around and criticizing them for not really getting enough stuff done. They're actually kind of ineffective. And I just wanted to point out that it's a pretty smart strategy.
To Congress 13 years ago,
Yes.
with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Great.
And I've worked every day to do that. APAC, a lot of times, APAC, I wish were much more effective. Like, there are folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of APAC, and APAC...
I'm not terrified of APAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No, not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what APAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at APAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's
when was the last time APAC took a position that deviated from Prime Minister Netanyahu?
All the time.
Name one.
Okay. Let me go back and give a little history. If you want to do a deep dive on APAC.
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive that gets...
No, I'm not going to do a simple...
I want to get to the core question. APAC is lobbying for a foreign government. And I don't... It's not. It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay. So it's not, has nothing to do with the foreign government.
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay, but it's lobbying
it's what's
on
best
behalf...
for Israel. That's why. All right, we all know how dumb. I'm trying to get through some of these videos here. Let's get to this one. Is the one I was trying to make. I was trying to make a video similar to my Douglas Murray versus Douglas Murray thing. I had a tough time finding the proper Cruz clips to make it funny enough. I'm still working on that, just so you know. They're talking about Israel spying on America, spying on Americans, and spying on the president. And he has such a hard time condemning the fact that they do that. Now, I did find several clips in the past of Ted Cruz condemning the U.S. government for spying on Americans and for spying on our friends. You know, that's something that came out in the whole Snowden NSA thing. You know, we found out a lot of things back then, and Ted Cruz had plenty of stuff to say about it. But when it comes to Israel spying on this, like, oh yeah, of course they do. Of course they do that. And I found it to be so, like, I went from thinking this guy was in like the top 5 in the Senate, and he still could be maybe when it comes to economic. It's a really bad list. It's a really bad. It basically starts from Rand Paul actually being good, and then everyone else sucks, and then he's towards the top of a list of people who suck when it comes to those senators. But I went from thinking he was towards the top of that list to just wanting him to be out of office just immediately. I was hoping that Beto O'Rourke would have beaten him. After the spine thing, it's so weird.
So can you elaborate? And again, I'm going into this as someone who's always liked Israel and still does. But I also think at this point, given where we are, it's fair to ask rational questions about what the benefits are.
Good.
So does Mossad share all of its intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. Really? We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on each other, and I assume all of our allies spy on us.
And that's okay with you?
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all... Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is the mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a conservative, I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's conservative to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us, and I'm not...
Do you like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have motive to do it. Of course they do. I understand that, and by the way, I'm not mad at them. But you're an American lawmaker, so I just want to know. Hold on, I want to know your attitude. Yeah. You said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion.
I said guiding, the overwhelming. I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
it is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest.
But I just want to stop on this flying for a second. That it takes place, as you know.
I just want to, it's very beneficial for us to be close allies with Israel, and they're our closest ally and our best ally. I've asked this question several times, like, what does Israel do for us? Because as far as I can tell, they get us into a lot of wars, and they help us, I guess they help us with all of these enemies that we have over there in the Middle East. But you can easily make the argument that those people are only our enemies, number one, because of our support for Israel in the first place. So like Israel's an important ally because they help protect us from people who hate us, because Israel's our most important ally. All right, here's a little bit more.
And including on the president of the United States and several presidents. And I just want to know if that's okay, and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state, you're not allowed to spy on us? I'm sorry, I know why you want to. I'm not mad at you, but you're not allowed to.
Sure.
And I don't care for it. I don't.
All right, and so I'm going to stop it right here for a second. I do want to say something about the videos that Tucker Carlson released as like teasers for this interview. He stopped this video right here, and I get it. Ted Cruz is squirming. He doesn't want to say yes or no. He doesn't want to say that he doesn't like that they're spying. But the original clip that he released cuts it off right here. And it's a little bit of bad form, because eventually, after a couple minutes of prying, Ted Cruz does eventually say, sure, I would say don't spy on us.
I don't want to be spied on by you. It's kind of weird not to say that, but you don't seem able to say that.
Sure, I would say don't spy on us. They're going to anyway. And by the way, the Brits are, the Canadians are. Like, I don't think...
Well, I'm not for that at all. Okay. I think it's disgusting. But we don't actually pay their... we're not their most meaningful sponsor.
So the point he's about to make there is really good. That's where that video cuts off. But the point he's making is that we're paying them. We pay them a lot of money, and then they turn around and they spy on us. And that's sort of weird. And he asked him, is it conservative to pay people to spy on you? And why can't Ted Cruz do the same thing that I've seen him do in many other speeches in Congress, talking about the Fourth Amendment rights for Americans, right to privacy, and how we shouldn't be spied on? I see him talk about, there's a video of him talking about refrigerators, smart refrigerators and home thermostats and all this stuff. All these things are spying on you, and they're made by Chinese companies, and this is super dangerous. Like, just say, like, yeah, Americans have a right to privacy. We wouldn't like our government to be spying on us. So obviously, de facto, we also wouldn't like another foreign government to be spying on us. Why can't you just say that? Why do you have to say, sure, I would say don't spy on us, but they're going to do it anyway, and so does everyone else? I'm just saying, I went through a bunch of clips yesterday, and that's not how he talks about anyone else spying on us, including our own government. So the last thing here has to do with the population. I will talk about the population thing after this clip.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So...
Okay. I've seen plenty of people making fun of Tucker Carlson here. It's also just a situation where Ted Cruz looks really, really bad, not knowing the population. And as I said on Wednesday, when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, this is like a random fact about a country, and this has spawned a bunch of memes out there, and I get it. But the more I thought about it, this is not that random of a fact to need to know. When you were someone who was pushing for regime change in the country, when you want us to bomb the country and you want to do a regime change in the country, now he's not all the way like boots on the ground like Lindsey Graham is. So you can forgive him for that fact. Like a Lindsey Graham kind of guy who's like boots on the ground regime change. in Iran. That's a little bit of a different scenario than what Ted Cruz is talking about. But they're like this one right here says, why the hell does Ted Cruz have to know how many people live in Iran? If it's 92 or 92 million, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. End of story. Another person says, no one gives a shit about the population of Iran. What matters is the threat that their regime is to the world if they obtain nuclear weapons. Tucker thinks this is a gotcha moment, but it isn't. And I just want to tell you that this is actually important if you're wanting to do a regime change. If it's 92 or it's 92 million, the amount of forces, the amount of bombs, the amount of money, the amount of time, the amount of potential American deaths, the amount of difficulty that it would take to do such a thing would be heavily determined by the amount of people that live in that country. Iraq was a country of 25 million people. Some of them did not like Saddam. Some of them did like Saddam. I don't know exactly what the breakdown on that is. I could have looked that up before I got myself into this gotcha moment right now. But here I am. I don't know exactly what that percentage is, but they were a country of 25 million. And we still had a really, really tough time. Some people have argued that it's because we did not have enough security forces in Iraq, or that the entire thing we were trying to do was just pointless and impossible in the first place. But there are numbers going back decades and decades, numbers that militaries use to have adequate security forces in a country to keep control of the population that you're trying to occupy. And that number is basically 20 security forces personnel for every 1,000 people. Why is it 20 to 1,000 instead of 1 to 50, which is the same ratio? Because it might need to be like 17 to 1,000, or it might need to be like 27 to 1,000. And so making it 1 to 50 would be, not give you room to mess around with that number. So yeah, 20 to 1,000. That comes out to the need, if you're going to occupy this country and do a regime change war, like a Lindsey Graham boots on the ground operation, you would need about 1.8 million troops inside of Iran. That seems to be very important. What about knowing the ethnic breakdown? What about knowing all the different religious sects that there are in Iran? That's also very important. Imagine trying to take over the United States and install your own leader when Catholics would never allow a Baptist to be running the country, and they would fight to the death in order to stop that from happening. You would need to know things like that before you go into the country and you say that you're going to do a regime change war. So, yes, if you are arguing for regime change in a country, you have not fully thought out that argument. You have not fully thought out that situation. You have not planned it. You've not taken into account how many people could die, how long it could take, how many troops would need to go in, how much money it would take, anything like that. If you haven't even considered what the population of the country is. And so that is actually a really, really stupid moment there for Ted Cruz. All right, let's move on here. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff about troop density and all that, different levels that have been used throughout the years. Okay, we got to get going because now we're 37 minutes into the hour, and we just finished Dumb Bleep number 1. So Dumb Bleep number 2, number 1 is Ted Cruz, number 2 is Lindsey Graham. Let's see who said dumber things. Maybe Ted Cruz, maybe Lindsey Graham, because Graham's arguing for boots on the ground, and he says that our troops would probably support that because they care about America. And then he starts calling Iran Nazis and Hitler and all that. So let's listen to that.
This is a religious Nazi regime bent on purifying Islam, destroying the Jewish state, and coming after us. They're religious Nazis. And this regime does not need, nor can they ever have, a nuclear weapon. And Donald Trump is about to put a period on that statement.
I think this is eventually going to get thought of by someone else, but I do want to point out that I may have been the first person to use the term theo-Nazi, and I just want the recognition for when people start using theo-Nazi. I just think it's a good. I think it's really good. I just wanted to pat myself on the back because I said that on Wednesday and I thought it was pretty funny. So here's a little bit more Lindsey Graham.
Can you make the commitment that this would not lead to a longer war?
I can guarantee you that if the Ayatollah gets a nuclear weapon, he will use it. I believe that with all my heart and soul. So the men and women who serve, they're the ones going, not people answering a poll. And if you ask them, would you be willing to risk your life to stop the Ayatollah from having a nuclear weapon? All of them would say yes, because it makes their country, our country, safer. So we live in a world where you got to confront problems. You want to avoid World War III? Learn the lessons from World War II. People in World War II appeased Hitler to the point that it got so much out of hand, we had a world war and 60 million people got killed. So we live in a world where you pay now or you pay later. Let's stop this threat before he gets a nuclear weapon. Let's end this reign of terror. Let's do it now. It's not going to take 20 months, but I can't guarantee you your freedom and your safety unless we're willing to fight for it. I can guarantee you this: if we don't fight for our freedom, we will lose it.
We're fighting for freedom. I think, honestly, at deep down, like at the root problem here is that Iran hates us because we're free. They look at America and they see just how free we Americans are and all the freedoms and liberties that we enjoy, and that is actually why they hate us, because it goes against their religion. It has nothing else to do. Has nothing else to do with anything that we do in the region or anything that Israel does in the region. So Ayatollah Khomeini is Hitler. And we don't want to appease. We don't want to appease them, which is, of course, the appeasement of Hitler is what caused World War II, and so we have to stop him before he rolls through all of the countries in the Middle East and through Europe. They don't have a nuke yet. I mean, if they get a nuke, like the first one they get is going to be the size of the Hiroshima, the size and weight of the bomb in Hiroshima, probably, which is not, they're not going to be able to deliver that. But then eventually they'll get, I mean, they're like, probably by the end of this Dumb Bleep, they'll have a missile, an ICBM delivery system, I would say, for nukes. I would say by the end of this episode, I think is where they're going to get that. All right. Let's get to anything else from Lindsey Graham. That's what I got for this. Quick for Lindsey Graham. That's not too bad. Number 3, a random one here. He's been on before, but I did want to talk about this ridiculous thing before we get to Benjamin Netanyahu and some of the Israel propaganda. Number 3, Dr. Eli David, who I don't know who this guy is. Okay. He's a big fan of Israel. Really big fan. So this is a video, crazy video. I saw that there was a proposed community note at the bottom of the video, and I thought it was going to be because it was like an AI video or something, because it just looks ridiculous. You see all these missiles flying around, a bunch of them get shot down, all that. Wild video. You got to watch on YouTube or be watching in the Fed Haters Club right now. A lot of stuff. Bunch of missiles out there. Some of them getting through. There's one that just got through. Got an explosion. There's an explosion over there. Okay. It's not good. Not a fan of missiles. Okay. Let's get to what he said, though. Tens of missiles fired simultaneously on Tel Aviv in an attempt to kill as many civilians as possible. Tens of missiles. The last time attacks of such scale were launched on civilian population centers was during the Blitz on London in 1940 to 1941. Did you guys know we haven't had a situation where tens of missiles have been launched towards civilian populations since 1940, 1941, when that was happening to London? That's pretty good. I did bring up some other stuff, though. Like, you know, if you just want to go the same war, you can think about Dresden. Allied bombing of Dresden resulted in an estimated 25,000 to 35,000 civilian deaths, as TAC is cited for its devastating impact on a non-military target. Tokyo firebombing in 1945. The firebombing of Tokyo killed between 80,000 and 100,000 civilians in a single night. That's pretty crazy. Oh, yeah, and then there was those... You know, the only time that nuclear weapons have been used in history was also used on civilian populations, where you had like a couple 100,000 people die in a flash. That was after the Blitz on London, too, just in case you guys are wondering. Then we got stuff from the Korean War, the Vietnam War, just tens to hundreds of thousands of people getting killed. Yemen civil war, they took a lot of bombs also. And Ukraine and Russia, there's another war going on right now where I would say they have had at least tens of missiles getting fired at them as well. It's not to discount the fear of the people living in Israel and how terrible that must be to worry about a missile coming down on you. There's also, like, right next to Israel is a little strip called Gaza that's not looking great. Not looking great right now. And I think that they've also taken up to tens of missiles have been sent towards them. And here's Dr. Eli David from April of 2023 posting out something that made it to Dumb Bleep of the Week for us, saying massacring Jews wasn't a good idea. And it is a terrifyingly disgusting and awful photo of Gaza just absolutely torn apart. And this is Dr. Eli David, I would say, taking some pleasure in looking at that photo. So, number 3, Eli David, there you go. Number 4 is Netanyahu / a little bit of Israel propaganda. There were a couple pretty funny videos that came out. The Daily Show actually did a good one from all the times that Netanyahu has been saying Iran was weeks away from a nuke. They need to make like one of those. There's a bug in here flying around here. Okay. You need to make one of those signs like you're entering or maybe like a Jack Daniels sign, something like that. Like a t-shirt kind of thing that says Iran, weeks away from a nuke since 1995. I think that'd be a good one. I think it's going to be a good meme. I'm going to work on that one. Let's see here. Here's Netanyahu talking. This one's from the Daily Show. And I'll tell you the dates as we play this if you're just listening right now. This is from June 12th, 2025.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have
2018.
the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran
2015.
is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're
2012.
6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to
2006.
to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen,
96.
time is running out.
Iran will be capable
95.
of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
If I had that kind I mean, this is like people talking about climate change. Honestly, that it's crazy. Like people on the right can point out, oh, they've been saying that the ice caps were going to melt, in 3 to 5 years. Look at all these stupid predictions that Al Gore made. Netanyahu is the Al Gore of Iran being weeks away from a nuke. Let me put that in a way that people on the right can understand. This is not a new thing here. It's been saying it since at least 95. Let's see. We've also got a couple other things. Let me find. Oh, for Netanyahu, I wanted to include him implying that the 2 assassination attempts on Trump's life were also from Iran, which there is no evidence for, and he just completely made up under the hopes that some boomers, no offense, watching Fox News would take it seriously when he said it.
I want to talk about the nuclear threat, and I want to talk about President Trump. You just said Iran tried to assassinate President Trump twice. Do you have intel that the assassination attempts on President Trump were directly from Iran?
Through proxies, yes. Through their intel, yes. They want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number one. He's a decisive leader. He never took the path that others took to try to bargain with them in a way that is weak, giving them basically a pathway to enrich uranium, which means a pathway to the bomb, padding it with billions and billions of dollars. He took up this fake agreement and basically tore it up. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He made it very
All right, none of those things are proof that Iran tried to kill Trump twice or that they were behind the 2 assassination attempts. When he says they tried to kill him twice, he's obviously implying that it had to do with those 2 assassination attempts on Trump. Now, there's some people, one person got arrested I believe last year, we talked about this before the election, that they were trying to warm Trump up to the idea of going to war with Iran, which so far, like I said, a little bit of credit where a little bit of credit is due, is still apparently trying to hold off on. I think in the Ted Tucker interview, the Tucker TED Talk, thanks to whoever said that in the group earlier, Tucker TED Talk that happened. I think Tucker Carlson made a good point, and it's a point that we made back when this was happening. Like, if we have this proof that the government of Iran is actively sending assassins to the United States to kill our president, well, I mean, that sounds like an act of war. Sounds like something you want to respond to militarily, in my opinion. We were questioning back then, like, if they killed Trump, now he wasn't the president at that time, if they killed Trump, a candidate for president, would Biden have responded and bombed Iran because of it? Like, what would we have done? That's a pretty big thing to do, is to assassinate a guy who's maybe about to be the president. And as Tucker pointed out, like, you guys clearly don't take it seriously, these accusations, or you'd already be pushing for war with Iran because of that fact. That's a pretty crazy thing that's happening. While we're adding in the Israel propaganda to this, I did want to play this video from the Israel Defense Forces, the IDF, on X. It says, if we don't stop them, you're next. So if you don't fight them over there, you're going to have to fight them over here, Americans. Just keep that in mind, and I'll show you what it says on the screen. Okay, so it says, here's what we're messing with. The destruction of the United States, China, United Kingdom, Italy, France, Hungary, Belgium, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Canada, Sweden, Germany, Egypt, Russia, Austria, Romania, Ukraine, Poland, Lithuania, Israel. This is what Iran is heading towards right now. They're Hitler.
What if your biggest enemy had a plan named and aimed at your annihilation? Israel doesn't have to imagine. Iran has a plan based around their existing ballistic missile capabilities and their accelerating process to obtain nuclear bombs. A plan that will threaten millions of innocent civilians, and a plan that doesn't stop with us, because their next plan will be...
And the destruction of all that's nice. They made it the loop where you just watch it over and over again. They got the ominous music going, all that. That's some pretty great propaganda they got going right there. I did want to point out during this section, Dumb Bleep number 4, when we're talking about Iran and the nukes, I thought it was very interesting. I saw this story yesterday that the IAEA, now their report, which we did not throw a conspiracy theory out about last week. We talked about how people could throw a conspiracy theory out because they had released this terrifying report that Iran was enriching to 60%. I think they had some things enriched to 60%. That's, what else could they be doing with that other than getting to a bomb? And that's an argument, That's definitely what they might be doing with that uranium. I don't enrich any uranium personally in my house. So yeah, if they're doing that. And that was used kind of as the pretext for launching this preemptive war against Iran. Like, oh, the IAEA, they're saying they got all this enriched uranium. And so then this whole war kicks off. And then the head of the IAEA comes out day before yesterday, and says, we don't have any proof that they're building a nuke. Like, these people know, they just used our report to launch this preemptive war. And I think now it's important 5 days later to let you guys know our report did not mention that there is any proof that they're working towards a nuke at all, really. And let me show you a little bit of this. All right. The head of the leading intergovernmental watchdog for nuclear energy and atomic weapons, has confirmed that the agency has not found any proof of an effort to obtain a nuclear weapon by Iran, lending yet more evidence contradicting Israel's self-defense narrative for its war on the country. In an interview this week, IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi said that while it is possible that there are operations being kept secret from regulators, reports that Iran has not been actively pursuing a nuclear weapon since 2003 are accurate. Those claiming to know exact details about Iran moving toward a nuclear weapon are engaging in speculation, is what he says. If there was some activity which was clandestine or hidden or away from our inspectors, we couldn't know. What the agency has reported, he said, is that we did not have, as in coincidence with some of the sources you mentioned there, that we did not have proof of a systematic effort to move into a nuclear weapon. This undercuts Israel's claims that it has evidence that Iran is working to obtain a nuclear bomb. Israel officials say they're so sure of this that they've started the war, supposedly, in order to stop it from happening. So, just to be clear here, which I think I posted out on X yesterday, our DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, our intelligence agency, says that they're not working towards a bomb. We have no proof that they're working towards a bomb. The IAEA, who, by the way, back in 2003, 2002, 2003, also said that Iraq was not working towards a bomb, that they had no evidence of that at all, that they had no evidence of the WMDs. They ended up being correct about that. By the way, I don't know if you guys remember a little bit of history at all. So they say that they have no proof that Iran is working towards a bomb. We have no proof that they're working towards a bomb. Now, we don't have proof that they're not, so kind of guilty until proven innocent sort of situation here, which is fine, we're dealing with nukes, let the inspectors in, that kind of thing, I understand. But it's already taken as a conclusion that they're working towards it and that they're weeks away from it. Some people were posting out that they were days away from it, and then Netanyahu was like, yeah, we think maybe it's like months away from it, or weeks away from it, or whatever we can say to get the U.S. involved in the war. That's fine. I guess it's 2 weeks. It might be, Trump says 2 weeks. I think it's about 15 days before they can get to a bomb. And we don't have anyone's proof to use for this war. We just have to go off the word of Netanyahu, Israel, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin. That's like those people. That's what we have as our proof right now, just so you guys know. And we're looking at starting a new war and getting America involved in a new war based on those things. And people get upset when we compare it to the Iraq war. It's lining up like perfectly with the Iraq war right now. On top of that, Sagar from Breaking Points posted out this clip, I think from a New York Times article. I didn't go and find the article, but we keep talking about, are we going to send in our bunker busters with the B-2s and we're going to take out this facility, or are we not? And that's our big decision right now. It's not even if they're close to a bomb. We've already decided that they're close to a bomb and it must be stopped. Now it's, are we going to come in there and finish the job with our B-2s? But apparently it's not even 100% fact that our bunker busters could even take out the site in the first place, because it's buried 300 feet down in a mountain, and they're not even completely sure that it would take out the site. This little snippet right here says, defense officials who received the briefing were told that using conventional bombs, even as part of a wider strike package of several GBU-57s, would not penetrate deep enough underground, and that it would only do enough damage to collapse tunnels and bury them in the rubble. Those in the briefing heard that completely destroying for, though, which Israeli intelligence estimates to go down as far as 300 feet, would require the U.S. to soften the ground with conventional bombs and then ultimately drop a tactical nuclear bomb from a B-2 bomber to wipe out the entire facility. And I just wanted to report. I wanted to report to you guys right now, good news. Trump says he is not considering using a nuke to stop the nukes. So that's good. Dumb Bleep number 5. Let's move on real quick. Trump said that he decides what America first means. This guy says, when I caught Donald Trump by phone this morning, the president wanted to make one thing clear. America first means whatever he says it does. Quote, well, considering that I'm the one that developed America first and considering that the term wasn't used until I came along, I think I'm the one that decides that, Trump told me. For those people who say that they want peace, you can't have peace if Iran has a nuclear weapon. So for all those wonderful people who don't want to do anything about Iran having a nuclear weapon, that's not peace. I decide what America first means. And to throw on top of this, Laura Loomer, bootlicking Laura Loomer, who could have had her own dumb bleep, but I just wanted to make this dumb bleep number 5. She, of course, says this very original thought that she had in her mind. It's not because Trump said it. It's her thought. She said, America first is whatever President Trump says it is. He created this movement. People who have been MAGA since day one would understand this if they have truly been with Trump since day one. But as I've been saying for years, most people haven't been with Trump since day one. And that was in response to Clint Russell saying, that's fine, you can keep MAGA, but America first belongs to us now. You don't get to decide what America first means, especially when it means not America first. I happen to believe America first should mean America first. But one of the dumber things in the statement, so we can move on to number 6, one of the dumber things is now Trump is the one who came up with America first. Like, he's the one who created, this is his slogan. And so he gets to decide what it means. Even if it means Israel first, it means America first. It's just not true, though, that he created America first. It might be in our modern context, but America First slogan originated in the early 20th century, gaining prominence in the lead up to World War II. It was popularized by the America First Committee, a non-interventionist group founded in 1940 to oppose U.S. involvement in the war. Okay, but before that, even, Woodrow Wilson. Ugh. God. I don't like saying that guy's name. Woodrow Wilson used the America First slogan during his 1916 presidential re-election campaign to emphasize U.S. neutrality and domestic priorities amid rising tensions in Europe due to World War I. The phrase encapsulated his policy of keeping the U.S. out of the conflict, appealing to voters wary of foreign entanglements. But now, America First means foreign entanglements. Because Trump created America First. Did you guys follow all that stuff? Okay, that was really good. Whoopi Goldberg, she says, don't forget about me. Don't forget about how tough life is for us. I know that we just had someone on here trying to propagandize about how terrible Iran is to try and whip up the vote for going to war with Iran, which is dumb enough, on its own. But I think it's important to remember that Iran might be bad, but have you considered, sure, Iran's bad, but what about life for black people in the United States of America? Have you guys even stopped to think about that?
And it's slow. But let's just remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights. Listen, here's the thing.
Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
But where the Iranian regime is today in 2025 is nothing compared to the United States.
Keep hanging black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step foot during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit in Toronto.
Killed for I'm sorry.
I can't have my hair showing. I can't wear a skirt. I can't have my arms out.
I'm telling you,
I literally said it was up to the Iranian people.
Yes, it is up to them. And that's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it. It's not good. So that's why I said you weren't saying what I heard was not what you meant.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Tehran. Do not anyone at this table should go to Tehran.
Let me tell you about being in this country.
I don't know who the more rational one talking is. I don't know those people's names or anything, but I think she knows that they're creating one of these viral clips that's about to go around that everyone's going to make fun of it and talk about how stupid all these ladies on The View are. Not if you're black. It's not different if you're black. Yeah, like what someone in the group is saying, like everyone, you know, all parents, I think, worry about something bad happening to their kids. And you look at things statistically, I mean, yeah, you could be worried that something bad's going to happen. Or there's been situations in the U.S. Clearly where gay people were targeted, and the big difference is that like those things are very widely seen as wrong, and people end up going to prison for it, and we call it murder, and it's a bad thing, and we don't celebrate the people. At least everyone in the United States does not celebrate the people that do that. But to think about a country like Iran where yeah, I mean, the other lady is correct. Like, she would get imprisoned or beaten to death, either one, for just going into the country looking like she does right now, wearing the clothes she's wearing, not having her hair covered, all of those things. Game over. And here you are, you can walk around, and guess what? It's the same thing for Whoopi, this multimillionaire Whoopi, who just gets paid to say stupid things on the show all the time. Like, if she just went into the country looking like she does right now, it's game over for her. And she gets to walk around and have a really great life right here in America. And that's the case for most people that are in America, especially relative to the life that people have if you try to exercise any of those liberties in the country of Iran. You know, I might be against war with Iran, but it's not because I think Iran is some great place. I think it's a pretty terrible place that treats their people very badly. And I think it would be great if the people in Iran would decide that they wanted freedom and liberty and rise up and take out their government and institute Jeffersonian democracy. It's just not about to happen. But just these people that just have to take everything back to race and have to take everything back to their victimhood status. Like, yeah, I know we're talking about how bad it is for these people in this other country, but I'm really worried that that's going to take the spotlight away from this. I've got this bad thing to use as an example that happened 15 years ago in the United States, and it was really bad, so, it's good to keep that in mind. My God. I don't know if Whoopi needs to be the dumb bleep number 6 or the people who watch this freaking show. And then the dumber people on top of that is there's people who go to this show and then they clap after they say something stupid. It's ridiculous. Those are... All right. Number 7. Chris Murray. We're going to get away from Iran. We're going to get away from Iran and Israel for the rest of the show, I think. I'm pretty sure. This concerns something we didn't even talk about this week. That dude in Minnesota that killed a lawmaker and her husband and shot a couple other people, shot another lawmaker. Terrible. I'm against that. Not a fan of that. At first, it was he's a clearly right-wing person targeting Democrats, and then it was he's clearly a disgruntled Democrat because this person voted against something that he didn't like, and then it seems to be more like this was a right-wing guy. I know that he was appointed to a board by Waltz and all that kind of stuff, but it was a business board, and those are often bipartisan boards, and I don't, whatever. We don't even have to make that whole thing matter right now. It's the reason I didn't say anything about it over the weekend, because you really don't know anything about these situations for a few days afterwards. But anyway, Chris Murphy, senator, I believe, from Connecticut, pretty sure, said, the Minnesota assassin appears to be a hate-filled right-winger. So can we stop walking on eggshells about MAGA's legitimization of political violence? Yes, Republicans have also been the target of inexcusable violence, but this isn't a both sides issue. And here's a thread on the danger. He's going to show you all the ways that Republicans are the violent ones. So I'm looking forward to this thread. Now, first off, God bless. If you were to look at political violence, what they do is they don't categorize things as like political violence when it's like leftist Marxists that do it. You look at the numbers on it, like, yeah, no, there's not been any political violence. Like all the BLM riots and stuff. It's not political violence. That's not what it is. Any of the riots that happened just recently in L.A., nothing like that. No, it's not political violence. That's not what we call it. That's not left-wing stuff. Yeah, Rand Paul wasn't attacked. That's not a thing. His neighbor, it was over lawn clippings. That's what it was. He was mad that he was composting. He had a compost thing next to his house. Really got the guy upset about it. That's definitely what it was, for sure. There's no political violence. They just don't count these things. It's clearly biased in the way they count it, but whatever. I want to know the threat of all the dangers. What do you think he's going to mention here? Let's see. For the last 5 years, MAGA has been bathed in political violence. Most importantly, MAGA's celebration of the January 6th and Trump's decision to pardon all the Jan 6 rioters, including the most violent, became a clear endorsement of violence committed in his name. But it didn't start with January 6th. Trump regularly threatened protesters at his rallies with violence. He cozied up to brutal dictators abroad who use violence to maintain political control. There was no comparison in democratic messaging. Okay, so we've already moved off of that. They're clearly the ones who commit political violence, Jan 6. And I tell you what, it doesn't matter what happens, we're going to have another 500 or 5,000 leftist riots where dozens to hundreds of people get killed over the years. And they're going to be like, yeah, Jan 6, though, It's pretty crazy that cop had a stroke the next day. So, a lot of violence, for sure. Let's see. Didn't start with Jan 6. Here's the other violence, was Trump threatening protesters at his rallies with violence and cozying up to brutal dictators abroad who use violence. Those dictators use violence. Trump cozied up to those dictators, so Trump is violent and agrees with the stuff that those dictators are doing to those people. So you just connect all the way through. Right there. We cannot discount the impact of MAGA's fetishization of guns. MAGA celebrates having a gun as violent, by the way. Look at this. I've got a violent backpack right there. Super violent backpack. MAGA celebrates the tools of mass shooters. Mass shooters use guns. Republicans like guns. So MAGA and Republicans celebrate the tools that mass shooters use. So they're celebrating mass shooters. Mass shooters now align with Republicans because they use guns. Republicans are violent. You guys, I don't even need to make a flow chart for that. It just flows so obviously for us, right? Trump sends other clear signals supporting political violence, said he might pardon those that plotted the kidnapping of Governor Whitmer. I don't think the FBI people should be in prison, do you? I'm kidding. They should be, for sure. The deployment of the National Guard and Marines to L.A. was the next escalation. Trump sent the military to L.A. to inflame and create the conditions for more violence. So the left is not violent like the right because the right had to send in the National Guard to prevent the left from burning down buildings. So it was the right that was violent. Oh, my God. Okay. When MAGA uses violence against its political opponents and endorses private acts of violence when committed in service of MAGA, unhinged people listen, mostly on the right, but also on the left. Once violence gets mainstream, it's hard to put it back in the bottle. Let's see. Okay. Hey, wait, does he mention the baseball shooting? He does. Hey, credit to Chris Murphy. He actually said the baseball shooting out loud. It's true the violence is sometimes trained on Republicans, including Trump. Yesterday, in fact, was the anniversary of the congressional baseball shooting. And yes, there have been some on the left who have been too cavalier about violence, and they should be condemned too. Okay, well, good job. Good job. That almost takes away all the stupid stuff you just said, but it doesn't. Number 8, kids. Speaking of ICE, here we go. Kids are protesting against ICE in Roblox. I'll somewhat date myself here. I don't exactly know what Roblox is. I do understand that it's a game of some sort, but I don't know what you do. But I don't, after seeing this, like I don't really support it. I don't support this kind of anarchy going on here in Roblox. Just kidding. Here's a little video of an ICE protest and is that what we're doing? You got to have like the Second Life where there's a ICE protest in there and then that inside of an actual game. Don't you do games to get away from life? But I guess you're a kid and you see people doing stuff on TV and so you want to do it too. There's a video of this it looks violent to me. Yeah. A lot of people protesting, blocking roadways. That's not good. Honestly, we can't be teaching our kids to block roadways like to roadblock roadways. That's bad. Is that fire? There's a cop car on fire. There's a cop car on fire in the Roblox protest. What's going on? What are people doing? What is this? Oh, turns out it was peaceful. Yeah, that's right. I didn't notice the cop car on fire. They're just having fun. Just some kids want to have fun watching cars burn. You don't stop them from doing this. But unfortunately, Taylor Lorenz, she's investigating these super important things. And she says on Monday, I reported on the anti-ICE protests taking over Roblox. One of the kids I interviewed texted me this morning to share that the Roblox protesters are now facing police violence. This is a screenshot of the text. It says, "Hello, I was in a Roblox ICE protest, but then we all got shot by the police." This is Trump's fault, honestly. This is Trump's fault. And when the military gets sent into the Roblox protest, that's when it goes too far. We're going to monitor the situation just so everyone knows. And so far, I think the cops have this handled, but we will not let their rights be violated. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Who has jurisdiction? Okay. Number 9, real quick. We had Father's Day last weekend. That was good. Here's an opinion piece. On Father's Day, it's crucial to recognize the importance of mothers. Okay, so that's good. Just so you know, this is an article intended to get people upset, so they'll share the post on social media because it's not even a real article. There's barely 2 paragraphs in it. It was literally just a clickbait headline to get people upset, and here we are talking about on Dumb Bleep of the Week. This is a quote, "A woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle." That phrase, often credited to Gloria Steinem, was actually coined by an Australian, Irina Dunn. It may seem like an odd way to start a Father's Day column, but I do it to point out that no matter where you stand on women, men, fish, and bicycles, it is undeniably true that a father needs a woman. There are single fathers and 2 dad fathers. Do the 2 dad fathers need a woman? I'd need an answer to this right now. When 2 dads, are we saying they need a woman? Or is it then it's okay to have 2 dads? I'm not sure. Like, is one of them the mom? I don't really know in 2025 what the rules are on this kind of stuff. But whatever the case now, at the beginning of the fatherhood path, there was a woman. It seems only fair to acknowledge that on Father's Day. That's the entirety of the article. Also, like at the beginning of the motherhood path, there's probably a man also. So I searched. I wanted to see if there were also similar articles written for Mother's Day, just to see, be fair and balanced and all that kind of stuff. Like on Mother's Day, it's important to remember that it took a father for the mother and that kind of thing. And so I searched on Mother's Day, it's important to recognize the importance of fathers. And all I got in response was why it's important to remember mothers on Father's Day. Even the AI assist says, while Father's Day primarily celebrates fathers, it can also be an opportunity to acknowledge the important role mothers play in family dynamics. And I think we should have a day for that. I'm proposing this right now. I know Trump says we got too many holidays, but I think we need a holiday for mothers. And if you guys can come up with a name for that, I'm open to all the suggestions. Mother's, that could be it. Could be Mother's Day. We'll see. We'll put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in that one. We'll vote. We'll vote on Birthing Person's Day. That is the 2025 version right there. And how about to round this out for this joke article? Because the idea here, there's like a general hatred of men and non-appreciation of men and the feeling that men are just not important. And the statistics do not bear that out, just so you guys know. It's 24.7 million children in the United States that live in fatherless homes. 33%, man. Children living in fatherless homes have increased by 25% since 1960. 45.6% of black children live with their mother only in 2021. 85% of children with absent fathers get involved in crime. 70% of children in fatherless homes have dropped out of high school. Children living in fatherless homes are 4 times more apt to live in poverty. Girls raised in fatherless homes are 8 times more apt to be a teenage mother. 85% of all children living without a father experience behavioral disorder. Teenagers with positive and nurturing fathers are 80% less apt to go to prison. 20.2% of fathers are considered absent fathers, according to 2019 data. I don't know. It sounds like fathers are important. Whew, we got to move on here. It's Dumb Bleep number 10. Baby of Georgia woman on life support has been delivered through cesarean section, family says. I didn't know anything about this story. That had not crossed my radar, not made it on my radar at all. The brain-dead pregnant woman who became a flashpoint in the national debate over reproductive rights and Georgia's 6-week abortion ban has delivered her baby, her family has announced. Doctors told the family of 30-year-old mother and nurse, Adriana Smith, she had no chance of recovery after a series of blood clots in her brain left her brain dead in mid-February. That's awful and terrible. When she was about 2 months pregnant, Smith had been kept on life support since then to support the pregnancy. The baby, Chance, was delivered Friday by emergency C-section and taken to the neonatal intensive care unit. Let's see. Baby weighed 1 pound, 13 ounces. That's small. It's really small. There's someone in the group listening right now who was born around the same weight. So that's, still a chance. Just saying. Let's see here. Smith became a flashpoint in the debate over reproductive rights in Georgia's 6-week abortion ban after family told news outlets that doctors told them while she had no chance of recovery, Smith's organs would be kept functioning so as not to violate Georgia law. So just so you know, they kept her alive throughout to bring the baby to at least a good enough stage that they could do a C-section. I don't know if they said, 2 months pregnant in February, so where are they at right now? Someone can do the math for me on that one. So they kept her alive to keep the baby alive. And, I don't know what the rules would be on this. Number one, first off, you would go to, in my opinion, now this is a young mother, it's a 30-year-old mother who I would assume did not plan on dying. And I would first want to know, what does she think about this? What would she think about this? Assuming she was keeping the baby, although I don't know if that's through choice. They have a 6-week abortion ban, and she's a couple months pregnant. She's keeping the baby. I would feel like, I'm not a woman. I'm not a mom. I'd be like, yeah, I've got a baby. This is my baby, and I love my baby. And if something happens to me and I'm brain dead, and you can keep me alive, and the baby still lives, I think that's a miracle of modern science, in my opinion. Just thinking about it right there, I've got some issues in forcing this situation, but the issue is, according to the Attorney General of Georgia, they didn't have to do this. It's not required under the law to do this. So they're like, we don't know who decided this was the interpretation of this law. I don't know if the hospital is trying to make a point, if they're trying to create some kind of a political flashpoint in the scenario, but the Georgia Attorney General, Chris Carr, said the law does not require this action. There is nothing in the Life Act that requires medical professionals to keep a woman on life support after brain death. Removing life support is not an action with the purpose to terminate a pregnancy. And I think, regardless of where you're at on abortion and all that, you're not doing an abortion. The mom died, and so very tragically, the baby, most of the time, when a pregnant mom dies, the baby dies too, and that's not an abortion. I think it's great they were able to keep her alive and save the baby, and she might also think that that's great. I would imagine, if given the choice, hey, we can save your baby. Do you want us to save your baby? And be like, no. They want to save. Screw that baby. If I'm gone, baby's gone too. The reason this came up is because I saw this post. It's a response to someone saying the family of Adriana Smith said the baby boy has arrived, expected to be okay. We just want prayers for him. That's what the family said. And then there's this response that's got 2 million views at the time the screenshot was taken. Says, I might be a monster for saying this, but I don't want that child to live. Because if it grows to live and have a decent life, then we as women are doomed to never escape the role of an incubator. Adriana Smith was an experiment of a country that hates its women. Now, wherever you are on this story, and I will admit, I had not thought enough into this and rights and all of that when it comes to this situation. Wherever you are, though, regardless, you ought to at least have the humanity to say, like, wow, that child is alive. How about that? That human being didn't die. What happened to the mom is tragic, and now this kid is alive. And even if you disagree with how that happened, like now the baby has been born and is alive, and to feel so much hatred for the removal of your right to kill babies that you would want this living baby, this miracle of modern science, to die after it was born simply because of how you feel about abortion rights. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with your heart. Let me tell you what, something wrong with your heart and your soul in that take right there. All right. Good Lord. I got 2 things left. I'm going to do them in 5 minutes. We're going to end this at 11:30 a.m. This one, it's a picture of a whole bunch of barbecue sauce in the barbecue sauce aisle. As you guys know, going to the grocery store, there's a heck of a lot of options out there. And I don't even like barbecue sauce, but it's all out there, okay? This person says, and got a ton of views on this post, a lot of people talking about it, capitalism can't give you a working healthcare system, but it can give you 175 different kinds of barbecue sauce. Well, that is a very smart post. It's a great, by smart post, I mean it's designed properly and it's said in a way that's going to garner a lot of attention, a lot of reposts from people who don't know better or people who do know better and they just like socialism or communism. The fact of the matter is we don't have a capitalist healthcare system. Not only do we not have a capitalist healthcare system, we've got almost the furthest thing removed from a capitalist healthcare system. In fact, we've got what would resemble more closely a fascist healthcare system, considering we do have some private ownership of these corporations, but they are entirely directed by the government, like entirely directed by the government. And on top of that, the government comes in as a payer with Medicare and Medicaid and screws up the entire system. Like half of the payments made in the healthcare system are made by the government in the first place. We do not have a capitalist healthcare system. We do not have a free market healthcare system at all. And if this person would take, I'm telling you, it might take 5 minutes. Like, do we have a free market healthcare system? Is that what we have? Absolutely not. Do we have a free market healthcare system? Not even health insurance system. Not even close to being free market whatsoever. It wasn't even free market healthcare system, health insurance system before Obamacare. And Obamacare essentially created a complete government takeover of the health insurance system. You want to know why it's so bad? It's because it's ran entirely by the government. They just allow private people to own it. That's it. All right, I said 5 minutes. Crap, I just took up 2.5. Now I took up 3 with that. Oh, let's end with something really funny. And I don't know if we got anyone from Oregon listening right now, but they're doing important things up there in Oregon. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. They got great trees, stuff like that. Trees are great up there. There's good scenery. There's some ocean and all that kind of stuff in Oregon. Beautiful. Then they got a drag show. Yeah, they got cliffs there at the ocean. I saw it. It looked really cool. Maybe, you could watch like the Goonies or something. Probably give you some pretty good Oregon vibes, or like Twilight, I guess. something like that. It's going to give you some good Oregon vibes. Yeah, just kind of vampire type stuff. And but what we do have here is, we brought you the mariachi band in the Texas house, and that's a Texas thing to do, kind of. I mean, it's a mariachi band. I think of Texas, I'm like, yeah, America. So I don't know if you have like a gunslinging duel or something in there. I'm not sure what you would do to be like more Texas, but a mariachi band in Texas. But instead, what we have here in Oregon, be like super Oregon, where you're like, yeah, this is Oregon, is you do a drag show in the house. That's good stuff. Very good. I hope the taxpayers appreciate this. That's great. Drag shows are a weird thing, and I'll admit, I've said it, I've already admitted it before, but I went to a drag show because I was at a wedding, and I was one of the only straight people there, and everyone wanted to go to a drag show, and that's something that they wanted to do. And that's fine. So we went, and I didn't actually understand the fact that it's just like a really weird lip syncing competition. Like, it's always that they're lip syncing. You're not even actually singing. So you're not showing off like any skills, because the dancing isn't very good either. And so like you're just wearing this ridiculous outfit that you would never wear anywhere else except for a drag show because you look stupid. And you're just wearing a ridiculous outfit, and you're walking around lip syncing to a random song, and like that's the show. I don't understand really at all. But people in Oregon, they get it. I'm not from Oregon myself, so I don't understand. All right, let's get to the votes. Holy crap, it's late. Woo! It was a heck of a show, man. Let me tell you what. Number 1, Ted Cruz. Number 2, Lindsey Graham. Number 3, Dr. Eli David. Number 4, BB and some more Israel propaganda. Number 5, America First. Number 6, Whoopi Goldberg. Number 7, Chris Murphy and the Violent Republicans. Number 8, Taylor Lorenz and the Roblox police brutality happening right now. That's what I saw. Number 9, Father's Day for Mothers. Number 10, the Georgia woman, and mainly the comment about wanting the baby to die after it has been born alive. Number 11, Capitalism and Healthcare. And number 12, the Oregon House Drag Show. Go get your votes in. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. If you are listening right now and you're like, man, I really wish I could be voting right now, and sometimes I disagree with who wins, and I really want to be controlling who wins on Dumb Bleep of the Week, well, that means you got to go to joingml.com and join the Fed Haters Club. That'll take you to our private Discord server. We got all kind of channels set up in here where people can hang out and talk, and they can have friendly, respectful debates about stuff, or they can post memes, or they can post stories and all that kind of stuff. And most importantly, they post Dumb Bleep submissions that we then throw in on Fridays, and you get to hang out live with us during every single show. It's super important, by the way. It takes money to make things, to make a show happen. These cameras cost money, the lights cost money, and it's important to support things that you think are important, and that's what these people are doing, and we would greatly appreciate it if you put your money where your keyboard warrior typing fingers are, and support this show. That'd be awesome. But if you can't do that, then just tell someone about the show. You could share something that we post on X. That's a really great thing, really great way to help us out. Tells the algorithms that people want to see our stuff, more likely to show our stuff to other people. So that's super important. Hit like or repost on X. Or you could leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast app. That's another really great way to support, because when you search like a keyword, because we put keyword stuff in the episodes when we release them, and if the algorithm says, hey, look, a lot of people leaving good reviews on this show, and someone types in the word Ted Cruz into their thing, well, guess what? If the algorithm liked us a whole lot, they would put our episode up there towards the top, up next to Ted Cruz's podcast, or someone else who's talking about the Ted Cruz thing, who coincidentally, by the way, using him as an example, that is who wins Dumb Bleep of the week for this week. So good job, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. Charlie gets back this weekend, so we're back to a fairly normal show next week. That's going to be awesome. We appreciate you guys so much for listening every single day of the week when you want to. And if you do everything that I just said to do, which is a lot of things, I hope you're taking notes. If you do all those things that I just said to do, then we'll be back again on Monday. Until then, have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.